Hi, I'm Jason Wexler, and this is Exemplify Agile. This is the first episode, so ground rules. First rule, I will be honest with you. Second rule, I value your feedback, and I will try to learn from it and get better based on it. Third rule, and probably most importantly, is the things that I'm talking about are things that I am either doing, plan to do, or in the process of doing. So one of those three, most likely. And if it's not, I'll let you know. And which stage it's in should be clear from the content. So with that said, onto the show, if you will. Today I'm going to talk about retrospectives, more specifically effective retrospectives, and most importantly, the things that we don't talk about when we talk about effective retrospectives. And that is that they are difficult. And they aren't difficult because you haven't found the right format, or you haven't found the right retrospective game, or don't do an effective safety agreement. Although those are all important and helpful, at the end of the day, recognizing faults in ourselves as individuals is difficult. And every retrospective on some level is acknowledging a individual fault or how individual faults collect as in a team or organization. So at the end of the day, in order to get somebody to change, they have to be willing and able to accept there's something wrong. And that doesn't always require full acknowledgement. It requires just enough honesty with yourself to try and change, and that's it, right? But that still is difficult. I'm going to tell you what I do to help exemplify this behavior in myself, so I can help bring it out in other people. And that's my goal. And what I'm looking for in a retrospective is not about a superficial like process complaint session. It's about acknowledging a fault in ourselves and changing it. And so to do that, I have my own retrospectives. I will give you an example of something that came up in a retrospective about 1.5 years ago. That it was very important to me. It was a super huge goal. And it was big because it's, one, very important to me, but two, extremely long-term thinking. So, what was my goal, right? So the way I do my retrospectives is I say, what is the state I want to be in, right? Like, where do I want to end up at some point in the future, right? And then I say, okay, why am I not already there? And that usually helps me reflect upon like what's wrong with me and what I should change. And the rule I have for myself here is that like I'm never blaming anybody else. I'm never saying because this person is in my way, or this obstacle, whatever it is. Like it's always something for me that I should change to get that goal. And then third, like, what are my ways to measure my progress towards that goal? Because I think that's really important. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of metrics. However, I think measuring your success in a way that makes sense is important. So I'll give you my story. About 1.5 years ago, I had a realization. And the realization was that my son, who I love very much, but that he may need help or may need care for the rest of his life. He has severe communication delays. He has autism, and the reality is at this point, it appears that he will probably need care for as long as he's alive. So for me, that was like a big moment, and realizing that was difficult. So I started to think like I want to be there for as long as possible, and for me that meant, okay, what is stopping me from getting there? And I was honest, like I think I'm a little bit out of shape and I should be healthier for my son, and for myself. But in this context, it was like be healthier so I can hopefully, as long as there's no buses out there, be there for him, right? So my honesty was at the level of I'm a little out of shape. Okay, that's fine. So how am I going to get there? Like what do I need to get into shape? So I'm like, I'm going to start by measuring things like taking a before picture, paying attention to my blood pressure, which is already fine, but whatever. Keep paying attention, see if it gets a little better. I got a scale that measures like, weight, obviously, and body fat, and all kinds of different metrics. So I had a lot of ways to measure, right? Then I was like, okay, well, now I've got to do something about it, right? So the first thing I would try to do was like, I'm going to go work out. And in order to work out, I had to find something that was like engaging and I enjoyed, that wouldn't just like quit. And what I found was a place that was convenient. And that was important to me because my schedule's all kinds of crazy. And so like set class times just were not really an option at the time. There was a place next to my work. It is a interval training kickboxing thing workout, which is fun, right? Which helps. It's also a really hard workout. They have no class times. You can just walk in whenever they're open. Also, checks all the boxes, right? So I signed up for membership. I did a trial membership, and then I signed up for membership. And I did that for about 3 months, and that was the only change I made. And I measured myself consistently throughout the time, and I discovered that I did okay. I lost some weight. Overall, all my measurements were better, but I wasn't getting to my goal as fast as I thought I could. So I'm like, what else can I do? So same goal, same shortcomings. Like, I'm a little out of shape, getting better, acknowledging that was important, but I can do more. So what did I do? I changed my diet. And by change it, I mean I just started counting my calories and looking at my macronutrients and, paying attention to it and trying to consistently just eat less than I burned, right? Also have this Fitbit, which is super handy for learning how much you burn in a day. So I did that, and that was really effective. Like, I lost a lot of weight really quickly, comparatively speaking. So time goes on. I'm like, okay, I'm doing really good. I think I'm really close to my goal. A friend of mine was like, running a Spartan race. And I'm like, that sounds like an excellent way to test my progress, right? If you're not familiar, a Spartan race is an obstacle course race where you're like running through mud and climbing things, and it's crazy. So I'm like, in order to do this, I want to push myself a little farther, like a little harder before the race. But my time was really limited, and like the only time I could see available, even like a little bit, was before I took my son to school in the morning. And so that is like between 5 and 6 in the morning. Fun fact about me, I'm not a morning person. I'm really not a morning person. But like 1 month, I will do this for 1 month to make myself ready for this race, and then I'll be done with it. So I signed up for Camp Gladiator, which is a boot camp, and for 1 month, and I did it for 1 month. I woke up at 4:40 in the morning, 3 days a week, in addition to the other workouts I was doing at 9 Round, and did that for a month. And then the race day came, right? So race day, it's exciting, right? So I get there, and there are clouds in the sky, and there are lightning strikes, and there are tornado warnings, and they delay the race, and they delay the race, and they delay the race. You get where this was going, right? So this whole month of work for this big race that I've been planning for, and race is canceled. I was really disappointed because I felt like I was really like ready for this race. Like, I was ready for it. I was stoked about it. I was gonna do it. I was probably gonna doing a lot of burpees, but that's fine, because I'd rather not run the race and not get electrocuted than the alternative of getting electrocuted or being taken away in a tornado. So fine, but I want to just stop for a second there. You noticed I said I'm not a morning person. I still believe I'm not a morning person. I do not enjoy getting up in the mornings. That was a limiting belief for me, because my thought that I'm not a morning person for a long time stopped me from doing things like super early in the morning. Turns out I am capable of doing things in the morning. I may not love it, but I'm capable of it. And by not love it, I mean I may not love waking up at 4:40. That part is not good. However, the actual workout is good. And just for a frame of reference, it's about, I think, 9 months after I started Camp Gladiator, and I woke up this morning at 4:40 and I worked out for an hour. Today, however, they had breakfast tacos afterwards, and that's not a normal thing. I was super happy about that though, because breakfast tacos, if you've never had a breakfast taco, come to Texas, I will buy you a breakfast taco. One, right, maybe two, because they're really good. So, I mean that. If you want to come to Texas, then meet me, and I will buy you a breakfast taco. That's the thing I'll do. So, moving on. Really, the point of all this is that through measuring my success, I was able to make continual changes to get better, and with just a little bit of honesty. And I say a little bit of honesty because that's important, right? When I said at the beginning that I was a little bit out of shape, right? That was the level of honesty I had with myself at the time. Like, I could be a little bit better shape. The reality was, in less than a year, I lost 55 pounds. That's a lot of weight. I feel much better now. I feel a lot better. I think I look better, a lot more energy. Like, it's a good experience. But I didn't have the full honesty there. Like, the reality was I was really out of shape. Like, I did not look good. I thought I looked okay at the time. I didn't. Like, I compared like my before and after picture after a year, and I'm just like, wow, what was I like? Why wasn't I not able to see that before? Why was I so like unable to process how out of shape I let myself become? So what I'm saying is, you don't need 100% honesty at all times to have an effective retrospective. You need to build enough of trust with the people around you that they can be a little bit honest, and then you build on that. If you put measurements in place that allow you to see how you progress towards this goal, then you can kind of move away from that as well. Like, you can stop saying like, am I being fully honest? You can look at your measurements and say, hey, I'm doing better, but also I was at a worse place than I thought initially. And that's pretty common. Like, you think you're in a better place, and you get into it, and it turns out you're not, right? So that's important. So, so a little bit of honesty. And don't let your beliefs about yourself limit you. As I said, like, I'm not a morning person, and that for a long time prevented me from doing things in the morning super early. But 9 months later, still doing it. And like I said, 3 times this week. This is Thursday. It's been 3 times. So these are things you can do. So be willing to be willing to find places to improve. Don't let your beliefs limit what you think you can accomplish. And I guess until next time, fail quickly and try to learn something.